craziness and an incredible season we had in 2020, it deserves a recognition. The 2020 season was something totally unexpected and showed us what the sport can deliver with some few tweaks. So, with anything more to say, let's get started. So, starting with my first category, it will be the best improvement of the season for a team and a driver. First off, we start with the team. And obviously, this goes to Racing Point. It was amazing how they changed, came from a 7th place in 2019 to a 4th place in 2020, even though they could totally would have won that 3rd place if not was for that 15-point punishment. So, now for the driver part of this category. It obviously goes to the man, the new race winner, Pierre Gasly. It was amazing compared to his performance last year. This was a total change of mindset, and he just developed amazing throughout the season. Starting with his best finish last season at the end of the season in Brazil, which was an amazing performance for him, and now a race winner in Monza. It was an incredible achievement for him and the team. It totally deserves it, and he really changed the game totally for him. This is a guy that can truly put some really nice pace in a car that it doesn't look like a fast car in general. So this goes to you, Pierre Gasly. First, with the next three categories, this is the whole grid separate in three different areas. This will be the best low field team, the best midfield team, and the best high end team. Starting with the best low field team, we got Alfa Romeo, Haas, and Williams, which definitely the guys at Williams deserves this. It was amazing how they improved this year, and though the Ferrari engine really helped how the Mercedes engine on the Williams performed because the Alfa Romeo and the Haas didn't have the pace. But they totally deserve it. They get out of Q1 consistently throughout the season, and they really improved to what was the 2019 disastrous season for Williams. Next up is the best midfield team. In this category, we have McLaren, Racing Point, Renault, and AlphaTauri. And this category goes to McLaren F1 team. It was an amazing performance. They seemed so consistent. They didn't look the fastest sometimes, almost never in the whole season. They didn't look the fastest in the midfield, of course, but they were consistent throughout the season, and consistency is the key here. So they really achieved a really great season again, moving from fourth to third this season. This goes to them and not Racing Point because they didn't look like they could manage doing well. They did well in a lot part of the season, but they couldn't keep there. Like there were races where the Mercedes was amazingly fast, that's incredibly fast. They got incredible pace, and the Racing Point couldn't. So they couldn't manage that to stay on the top, and McLaren was the consistent team this year, so they deserve this one, definitely. Next up is the best high-end team. In this category, we have Mercedes, Red Bull, and Ferrari. Yes, Ferrari didn't perform as a high-end team, but they totally had the means and the possibility to do it. We saw Charles Leclerc make some incredible stuff throughout the year, and they got a decent amount of podiums. They were the least consistent team maybe on the whole season, so it's a shame for them, but they will come back, I'm sure. But they don't deserve this one. It's definitely Mercedes. Mercedes took another Constructors' Championship, and they totally deserved it. They really showed how to play the game. They are totally in a different league compared to the rest of the teams. Even though Red Bull tried sometimes, they couldn't compete. It was an amazing achievement for them. Mercedes totally dominated this season, and they deserve this category. Now it comes the best one-off livery, and we had a couple of them, which is really nice to see, and I hope to see a little bit more diversity on the livery schemes for next year. But this year had a clear winner, and something that Mercedes should have done last year, but they didn't commit enough, as Ferrari did this year with the Ferrari 1000 GP Mugello livery. This was an amazing thing to watch. This livery was beautiful and really reflect on the history of the team, and we can really see how far they go. And that's what Mercedes should have done last year, actually, in Germany. They really had an amazing opportunity and they didn't take it, as Ferrari did with this amazing livery this season. This category goes to a guy that I think could have done a little bit more, especially at the beginning and middle of the season. At the end, he performed incredibly well and took the fight to his teammate. This category goes to Esteban Ocon. I think he didn't push Ricardo as he should have pushed him, or he pushed Perez in 2018. He is a really aggressive and strong, fast driver, but he didn't live to my expectations. Next year with Alonso, I think he will be pushed more if he doesn't fight back. So I hope he does as well, as I think he is of a driver. He's really fast, he's really aggressive, and he has grown. It showed. But he needs a little bit more speed to fight against Alonso. This next category, it's an amazing one to give. It's one that is an special for this year, I think, and I hope we can see a little bit more of this, but not because of the same reasons. I hope we see a little bit more change in the drivers for each car and team as we saw this year. This is the best one-offs of the season. In this season, we will consider Nico Hülkenberg with his Grand Prix participation, Pietro Fittipaldi in Abu Dhabi and Sakir, Jack Aitken in Sakir, and George Russell in Sakir. This category, I really wanted to give it to another guy, but this is the true champion, and it's George Russell. George Russell really showed what he can do and really show how bad the Williams is compared to the Mercedes. He showed how incredible he is. He's a really quick driver, and I would have loved to give this to Nico Hülkenberg, but he couldn't. Like, George Russell did his job and a little bit more. Nico Hülkenberg came from practically retirement and he really performed well. But George Russell brought the fight even to Valtteri that has been in that car all the year. So I'm really happy for him and I hope to see him in that Mercedes pretty soon. Next up is a category that is an special one for this season, but I hope we don't see it as frequent, and I thought these guys needed more time in the sport, especially one of them. And it's the sad departure trophy, and these are the contestants: Romain Grosjean, Kevin Magnussen, and Daniel Kvyat. And definitely this goes to Daniel Kvyat. In 2019, he showed what a consistent driver can do, especially in Germany. He was really good. He brought a little bit of his fight, and maybe he was not as good as Pierre, but the guy was really good. He performed and he had a really good pace throughout the season. So I'm really sad to see him leave the sport, but I hope the best for him and his next step. I hope to see him back, maybe with another team in the future. So the next category is a really tough one. We had a competitive grid this year, and we saw an amazing performance from almost everyone in the grid. So this is a really, really hard decision. But this guy showed us what is to be a champion, what is to be a winner, and that he will continue to win. The best driver of the season goes to Lewis Hamilton. Lewis showed us what a true winner can do, even in an off day, even when he doesn't have the machinery behind him. It was an amazing performance by him in Turkey, and he totally deserves that title. He plays in a totally different league, and there are few that can match him in a regular day. There are almost none that can match him in his best days. So he totally deserves this prize, the best driver of the season. So the race of the season goes to the Turkish GP. It was an amazing spectacle for all of us, and there were a lot of good races this year. But it was the whole weekend, not just the race. It was an incredible weekend from freak practice to the end of the race. We had an amount of variables that not even the best teams in the world could imagine and be prepared for. So Max had it. It was in his hands and he lost it. And Hamilton, as I said, showed what it means to be a 7-time world champion. So guys, that's it for me, and really thanks for watching. Hope to see you next video.